Anxiety is not a good thing to go through, and I want to share with you guys my story of how I came to realize I had social anxiety and how best to deal with it. Let me kind of just give you a little bit of an insight as to how I didn't really know that I had it for quite a while. It's only happened in the past year. I didn't know when I started YouTube, I didn't have it. It's that little thing in the back of your head that somehow manages to spin anything that's positive into a negative light. So you have those little what if scenarios in your head. What if this goes wrong? What if this person doesn't like me? What if this person doesn't want to be friends with me? But it's that constant thought in your head, it's that constant thing that nags at you in your head and makes you doubt yourself. And if you doubt yourself, you start to doubt what people say to you, because if you can't trust yourself, how can you trust anyone? I had that, where I'd put myself down so much so negatively that people started to avoid me. People started to avoid talking to me. People didn't want to be friends with me anymore because I was so negative. It's like, so I thought to myself, what can I change? What can I do to become more of a positive person for my friends? Not feel like every single time that, in the back of my mind, that I'm not cared for, that I'm not loved by the people around me. I seek constant reassurance, even when they've told me a billion times that they do appreciate me and they appreciate my company, but not when I'm negative. And so I thought to myself, what starts these negative thoughts? And it's that little kind of thing, like, I thought it was nerves. I thought it was just me being like, I thought I just had really bad nerves. Like, I'd send a message and wonder to myself, oh, what if the person doesn't reply? What if the person doesn't say anything? What if, they respond badly to it? What if I've put it across in a bad way? I used to think about every single possible negative connotation of me sending a message to someone. Nothing risky, just literally just sending a message. I thought it was nerves. But then a cycle started to appear where I'd start to doubt my friends because I doubted myself. I'd start to doubt my friends cared about me because I cared so much. But I have to remember that not everyone's going to be as expressive with their feelings. Being, like, brutally honest, I would describe myself as a bit excessive in terms of feelings towards others. Like, each of my friends knows that I appreciate them. However, I don't want to hurt them, and yet I end up doing so anyway, because of the fact that I doubt the fact that they care for me, even though that they do, and they never said that they haven't. But because of this kind of all or nothing thinking, which is like, where because someone hasn't said that they like you, you assume they don't like you. because they haven't said they love you, you assume that they don't. If someone shows that they care without saying that they care, you still realize that they do care. And that's one of the things you have to take into account if you do struggle with this, where you have constant negative thoughts about what people think of you, about what your friends think of you, about feeling alone and feeling like the world, like everyone's against you. Not everyone in the world wishes bad upon you. There are people in the world that generally do care for you, and there are people in the world that generally do want you to succeed and do the best that you can. Yes, there are some people that don't want that. There are some people that don't care for you, and that's just harsh reality. Something you have to come to terms with, and something you have to just accept and move on from. I don't know whether I've explained it as well, but anxiety is obviously not a joke. Like, and some people will just pass it off as nerves and think to themselves, oh, I don't have anxiety, it's just something that passes. But if it keeps coming back, it's a reoccurring thing where you find yourself falling into a cycle, then something is wrong. And it's something that you have to actively want to fix. Every time I've fallen into a cycle where I have an argument with someone and it's kind of like over the same thing, me accusing them of something that's definitely not true because I've made up in my head something completely negative. It's just not true. So I thought to myself, how can I change that? How can I break that cycle of always going back, apologizing, and then going back to normal for maybe a couple of weeks, and then the same thing happening again? Now, in order for you to get help, I would recommend the site 7 Cups. This is a site that essentially they have listeners, they have therapists that know what they're doing and will listen to what you have to say and will advise you on what you can do in order to help fix your anxiety. Obviously, it's not something that can happen overnight. You cannot fix your anxiety overnight. It's something that takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of self-belief as well, which is something I've lacked, hence why mine's not quite gone away. But logging onto the site is probably the first step in the right direction for me, and I'm sure it will be if you do the same as well if you are suffering. You're not alone in any of this, and you never will be, you never are. I hope that this video spreads the right message to those that are suffering, to tell them they're not alone, and that there are people out there that can help you beat this and overcome this and help. 7 Cup also has like this 3-day trial where you can obviously schedule a therapist. You can either talk to a listener who's there solely to listen to you and to listen to what problem you have, and it's often that they relate to the same problem as well because you type in the path that you wish to go down. So if you have anxiety, you go down the anxiety path. If you have depression, you go down the depression path. And there's somebody who's overcome it, or is still going through it, or is overcoming it, to listen to you and to empathize and to give you advice on how they dealt with it in order to give you inspiration as to how you should deal with your own. Obviously, registering for a therapist is a bit different because of the fact that obviously they're not going through it, but they are professional and they know what they're talking about, as well as the listeners do, because of the fact that they've actually gone through it as well. One thing I'd highly recommend is the mindfulness exercises, which help you to calm your mind. Just breathing exercises is essentially what mindfulness is. Guided meditation is what mindfulness is. Breathing in and out, just taking a deep breath, imagining yourself in a field, or imagining yourself in a climate where you feel comfortable, helps put your mind at ease and helps you to not be anxious about the thing you don't want to be anxious about, or what's making you anxious in the first place. Getting help isn't you being weak, it's you accepting that a change needs to happen, and you are willing to make that change to be better for yourself and to be better for the people around you as well. Anxiety sometimes causes you to not sleep, not eat, and you have this kind of constant pit in the bottom of your stomach because of, negative thoughts, and you think to yourself, oh, I'm not going to be able to eat because you don't have the appetite. You lose your appetite. You get tunnel vision towards the topic that you're anxious about. That's the only thing you can think about for the rest of your night or for the rest of your day. That's the only thing you can think about. You don't think about eating, you don't think about anything else but that thing which has made you anxious in the first place. And it's a bad place to be in, because obviously your health obviously comes first, and you have to eat, you have to drink water, you have to have something during the day. And if you're anxious about something the whole day, you might end up not eating the entire day. I've had it happen to me. I've been anxious about something and I've not eaten, or I've not slept well, and I've woken up with this horrible, horrible feeling of a pit in my stomach. Now, I didn't make this video for sympathy. I made this video because I feel like there are others that suffer with the same thing, and I want to try and help them. And I want them to try and help themselves as well. Sharing this is not me trying to get sympathy off anyone. I'm trying to spread a message that everyone goes through a silent battle, and just being there for them helps in such a massive way. And seeking professional help is probably one of the best courses of action for you to become better. Me making you guys aware of this is not me asking for sympathy. It's me telling you that I've acknowledged the problem. I've acknowledged that I have a problem. And I'm willing to do what I can, whatever is necessary to fix that problem. And that I'm going to be better in the future.